So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Dr. Lawrence Okolie ahead of his bid to win a world title at second weight. Lawrence, how you feeling?
Well, good. I just ate, which is very rare for a Wednesday. Or it's a Tuesday, but a few days out from the fight, so I feel good.
It's an extra what, £24 from the cruiserweight division?
Extra £24. I still have to make weight, funnily enough, but yeah, good.
Glad to hear it. What's the differences we're going to see in Lawrence Okolie at Bridgerweight compared to cruiserweight?
I think obviously strength is going to be obviously right back. I think uh explosiveness, especially early on, and I think what else I think is going to be different. I think composure. I think because I'll be a lot more within myself and within my sort of senses and stuff like that, and just really focused on the actual game plan as opposed to all the other stuff.
How much of this attempt to win a title at Bridgerweight is about the division itself, and how much is it kind of testing the water a little bit ahead of an eventual move to heavyweight?
They're one and the same, like it's two sides of the same coin kind of thing. I think Rosansky is a good sort of size man. He's a big guy. Seeing although I'm a lot taller than him, he's quite thick set. And if you're gonna box someone, the world champion that's got, I don't know, 90 something percent KO ratio, you know, um, it's a good way to test it and see, okay, cool, now let's go for some bigger ones.
And we haven't seen you in action for a year since the Chris Billum-Smith fight. Rosansky's been out of action a little bit longer than that. And while you went the distance in your fight, he only did what, a round or less than a round against Alan Babic. Is there any sort of advantage in that for you? You've been slightly the more active fighter.
Yeah, there is. Obviously, because, and also because my confidence is still sky high after that fight. There's not really much to say, obviously, and also I've done 12 rounds several times, 10 rounds. I've trained for 12 rounds since 2019 or 2018, probably actually. I've been doing 10 and 12 round fights. So I've obviously got a lot of experience. I've been in big occasions. But for him, obviously, his confidence will be high. He's been knocking everyone out in a couple of rounds. So that confidence it'll be like an early wave and we'll see how it goes.
And you said just there your confidence is still sky high despite the defeat to Chris Billum-Smith. What is it that's helped you maintain that confidence, or what did you see in the fight that you could extract positives from?
Obviously, if there's a day to lose big, it's that day. Obviously, I lost the world title, but you know, um, despite obviously some knockdowns, some points, whatever else, I sort of gritted it out. That's one obviously positive I would take from it. I think also on top of that, I never felt like I was outclassed at any point in that fight. So it's not like, oh God, the guy bashed me up or the guy outclassed. But the guy won a fight where I didn't perform that well, and then since then, obviously with moving up in weight and stuff, and just enjoying camp. I felt the difference in sparring. Um, at the start of camp, I wasn't sure how to feel. Oh God, this guy's good. But as camp's gone on and I've done round after round after round of sparring with multiple different people, and how the sparring's gone, it's put me in the right mindset.
Were you sparring mostly heavyweights? And if so, is that a change from how it was previously?
No, sparring like around Bridgerweight type of, I mean, like Babbage, Scott Forrest is a cruiserweight, but outside of camp when they're at the 98s, 99s, 97, do you know what I mean? So that type of size, and I think it helps because they got a bit of strength and then also they got a lot of speed. I think in this fight, the strength element isn't the part that I have to worry about. I think it's him being explosive early, throwing lots of shots and rolling and coming in full aggression. I need that kind of energy. And it's hard to get that with heavyweights.
And that's exactly what he did against Babic, who you just mentioned you sparred. Although their fight didn't last very long, was Alan able to give you anything, share anything with you that might help?
Just his sparring. I mean, his experience is going to be a very different experience from the one I'm about to have. Like Babic's, uh, obviously hasn't got the sort of boxing pedigree that I have. Hasn't had the sort of fights I've had. I think that was his biggest fight, and it showed in the day, with the nerves. I think that's one thing he did say to me in camp that, he kind of lost before he got in there. It was a big occasion, but for me, this isn't really a big occasion. This is just an occasion. I've obviously it's big ramifications for the win, but there's nothing to it. Do you know what I mean? I've done press conferences, I've done weigh-ins, and then I've had 20 fights, so it's not like this is new to me.
Just tell us a little bit about why you and Joe Gallagher decided to work together and what it's been like, any changes from what you're used to.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been changes. He doesn't give a toss about anything that how I feel, how hard that he just wants work, and he wants to know that I want it. And I do. And that's another reason why my confidence is high. As I said, like outside of boxing, you know, I've done well, and I obviously respect. I don't need to box at all. Like boxing doesn't pay me as much as the stuff I do outside of boxing anymore. So it's like the love of the sport, and then knowing that if I stop today, I could just go back to Dubai and just live comfortably. But it's like, no, like he wanted to know that I want it. And then the fact that I got through the training camp well showed me that I want it. So I feel good. I feel good about Friday.
And when you first got together with Joe, what was it that made him stand out? Because I'm sure there were plenty of people queuing up to work with you.
Well, I think it's exactly what I spoke about, where it's like we sparred Parker together. That's the first time we really got any work in. I liked how he was in the corner. And then when we got to work, I was coming off of obviously the disappointment of not getting the rematch with CBS and so on and so forth. And I was heavy, but he was still saying the right stuff for me to do at that stage. And then as we've gotten fitter and as I've gotten more explosive, he's been adapting what I need to do. And I think it is that mindset of like I think I did get very complacent being a world champion and having it all just laid out and having like the team that I had sort of, like as I said, life was just very like da, 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 yeah, I'm just gonna walk in here and have a fight. But now it's like Joe is like this is the real world. This is Rocky. This is that. So I liked all that energy and as I said, we'll see Friday.
And speaking about the previous training setup, in your last fight, your lead trainer was, of course, Sugar Hill Stewart. He was under a lot of scrutiny, I think it's fair to say, at the weekend, as was everyone involved in the undisputed fight. How would you describe Sugar Hill as a trainer from your experience with him?
He's a good trainer.
Is that it? Any
I know he's
elaboration?
a good trainer. He's a good trainer. I mean, it's always easy after fights are won and lost for people to, blame trainers and this, that, and other. After I lost, I didn't blame Sugar. I blame myself for not executing what I need to do. And, I'm sure Tyson Fury will be in the same boat. So what I mean, at the end of the day, you employ people because you think they're good for the job, and you give it your best shot. I think he's a good trainer.
There was a lot of criticism of the number of voices that were prevalent in Tyson's corner on Saturday night. Has that been something you've ever experienced? Have you ever had multiple people talking to you between rounds?
No, it's never happened, and I don't think I think it's obviously very distracting and stress, especially in high pressure, high danger situations, where you're hurt or like it's hard to retain information enough when you're tired, let alone five different voices. So yeah, it's always going to be tough.
What did you make of the fight overall on Saturday night?
It was a great fight, to be fair. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what the fight would look like, but it was a very entertaining fight. It was very um technical. It was very good shots. Good. Oh man, it was a great fight.
And Fury today has, or via Frank Warren, revealed his intention to activate the rematch clause and to go again in October. What, if anything, do you think he needs to change? Because it was a very close fight.
Yeah, that's it. Just stay in the gym and because I think a lot of that fight was lost on conditioning. Because Usyk's obviously a lighter guy, used to just working hard. And I think yeah, that's it. Like if you maybe yeah, he done enough good stuff to build on, and so did Usyk. So you don't know who's gonna win, but it was such a close fight that you do go in for the rematch.
Now, I want to ask you about the Jai Opetaia fight that was on the same show, given you were a cruiserweight world champion not too long ago. But first of all, do you ever see yourself returning to cruiserweight? Would that ever be a possibility?
No, I don't think I could physically make the weight, or at least make it well and perform. Number one, number two, he boxed well. I think obviously, I still think his best win was beating Bradis when he beat
First
Bradis.
time.
This time obviously he's a 40-year-old man who's had pretty much no fight since that fight. But it's still a good back and forth fight. Obviously Jai winning all the early rounds and then Bradis sort of coming on strong at the end. But I think I don't really think nothing of it. Just I think they're all good fighters.
Now you've vacated that division, who do you judge as the best cruiserweight in the world?
Um, it would have to be out of Jai and Chris currently, because obviously Chris beat undefeated world champion and myself when we boxed for the world title. But then Jai beat Bradis. But then since then, obviously beating Bradis again, he hasn't boxed anyone that good, but respectfully. So I think the fight with Rap will be very telling. Do you know what I mean? If he can come through that one well, then you'd say it's between him and Jai.
Do you rate Riakporhe? Because that was a rivalry that people were trying to build up at one point.
No, I think I don't rate him. I'll be honest with you. I think he's not you know he's like he's got obviously at all times he's got a puncher's chance, but other than that, he's not boxed anyone good. He hasn't boxed anyone good as an amateur or a pro. He's got a lot of great physical attributes, which has helped him sort of get into a good position. But Chris should beat him, you know, based on those things. But we'll see.
And just last of all, Friday night against Lucas Rosansky. What's going to happen? What can viewers expect?
Uh, I keep tossing between. I think I'll stop him early or I'll stop him in the middle round. I'm not sure. It depends, you know, as he's bombing forward, how effective he is at it. If he's a little bit leaky, I'm gonna get some good counter shots off, and then you know I can stop the fight early. And if it is really effective pressure, we'll box for the first few rounds, and then we'll get him out in the middle rounds.
Great stuff. Lawrence, always a pleasure to speak to you. I know there's other people queuing up, but best of luck on Friday night and look forward to watching it.
Thanks so much.